right, it's time for more boat battle. Remember our boat battle project? Well, it's really coming along now. We've got a sailboat that can go around and it can shoot cannonballs, and we like them. And now it's maybe we make cannonballs, do something a little cooler. So what I'm gonna do is I'm make some targets for this, and I'm not gonna do everything for this project because I really want to see what you can do with this. But I'm gonna show you just a couple more things. So let's make a barrel, and I was kind of thinking like these barrels that if the boat hits them, the boat will explode. But if the boat hits them with the cannonball, then they'll explode. And maybe we could even add some points. We can also add some sound. Lots of things we can do. So I'm gonna make a new subclass, and I'm gonna call it barrel. And there happens to be a barrel. So I'm going to go here to this barrel, and I'm going to select it as its picture. And basically, I just need the barrel to be an actor. And now our barrel class, you might think of as blank. It's really not blank. There's a lot of code in the actor class. We've got all this code right here that we inherit. The only thing that we're changing is we're changing that it's a barrel. And by subclassing, even if we don't add any code, we're going to be able to detect whether we're getting a barrel or a cannonball or a boat or something like that. So it's still really useful. So let's go ahead and make one just to see what it looks like. Okay, so this is awful, isn't it? One, it has a shadow. Two, it is floating on top of the water. So I don't like it. So it's time to bring out Piskel. You've heard me mention it probably. It's time for us to do it. So what I want to do is I want you to just go to Piskel. And if you haven't played with this, it's an incredible amount of fun. You can sign in with an account to save your stuff. I usually do sign in. And I'm going to create a sprite by uploading. So go to create sprite, and we should be able to upload the image. And so I'm just going to navigate to where images are saved inside my project. So I'm going to go to import, and I will import from a picture. And you can see I've already done some else. Make sure I get to it. So the name of this project is Boat Battle. And there's a barrel since I already added in images. And it's much better than trying to do this in like Microsoft Paint because you're going to lose the transparency of your image. So there it is. We'll resize it in a minute, so this is fine. Just say import. And I think I've already lost some of the characteristics because it changes it into like a Giphy image. So I've actually already lost the shadow. If not, I would go ahead and start erasing it. But you'll notice it says performance problems. Well, that's because it's trying to use all these different colors. I'll show you how that affects in a little while. Not a big deal. So now what I'm going to do, though, is I am going to just kind of erase and kind of not make it a straight line, though. I mean, I think it'll kind of like wrap around, kind of give it that image. But also, like, just like a wave coming up on it. And then I'm just going to get rid of all this other stuff. So I can just delete. Go in and fine tune it here. And so I got this barrel. I like it, but I'm going to add a couple more things to it. I don't know why that little side there. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a big giant X to it. Not that we could see all of it, but okay, come on. Luckily, Control Z still works here, right? All right, I kind of like that X. Kind of makes me think of like poison or explosives, and I am actually going to go ahead and put a little fuse on this, so it's not just a bomb. It's like a dynamite fuse kind of thing. Now I'm going to resize this to get rid of some of this excess space because then it would be detected as a collision when it'll make it seem like people are blowing up things that they're not actually touching. So we want to remove that as much as possible. So we'll move it to the upper left-hand corner. Then you can go to resize, and we can set, I'm going to uncheck maintain aspect ratio. My height, probably about half of that, so I'm going to say like 25. My width, definitely less than that. I'll say like 25. See what happens. If you don't like it, just go back and make it bigger. I'll say 28 and 25. All right, that looks pretty good. There is a little bit of white space here. I could work to get away from it, but, proof of concept. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just export this. You could also save it. Now, if you try and export it as a GIF, it will you could lose transparency, all because of all the different colors. So that happens when you have performance issues, when you try and bring in a picture and a pixel as opposed to drawing yourself. But still, they did a pretty good job of GIFing it for me, didn't they? We'll go to ping PNG, all right? So, and let's see here. Where do I want to do? I'll download the selected frame. There we go. So we don't get an animated GIF here, but it should be fine. I'll save the file, and I'm going to save it to, let's see here. We're doing boat battle images. I've already got one barrel here. I'll just save right over it. So there we go. And after saving right over it, it's probably going to make it, probably going to be different, but as soon as I pull it out, well, no, it's not. All right, hold on. There it is. So now I think you got kind of a little bit more of an image going on there of a barrel. Now, next step. Let's go to our cannonball. Let's make it blow some stuff up. So I'm going to go to my cannonball class. What's the cannonball do? Right now, it moves. When it reaches the edge of the world, we remove it. Well, let's do some other things. So if, do you remember how to get whether an object is touching another one? Every actor has this method here. Let me enlarge this just a little bit. It's fighting me. All right, we can get one intersecting object. Let's get one intersecting object of type barrel. So I'm going to say, oh, you know what? I don't want to say if yet. Let's get an actor, barrel, and I will say equals get one intersecting object of type barrel.class. So just by way of review, when you are calling an instance method, a method that, from the class, if it is a method that you currently wrote in the class you're working in, you just call it by just saying the name of the method with whatever needed in the parentheses. So for example, if I want to call the point up method, I simply would say right now point up like this, and that would call it just like that. If you want to call a method from a superclass, and remember the superclass is one that I subclassed when I say extends actor, it's the exact same thing. All those methods, basically, according to Java, they are already in this class. You just don't see them. Because when you said extends, you're basically meaning, hey, take that actor class and add these methods to it. Extend it. Just add more. So you're still in that class, to say, so, sort of. Okay, so super cool. Now, if you want to call a method that is not in your class and not your superclass, you have to call it on an instance of that class. For example, remove object is a method that belongs to world. World, you can see over here to the right, is not at all related, so I have to get an instance. Luckily, there's a getWorld method that returns an instance of it, and then I can call that method. So anyway, we call get one intercepting object. We give it the parameter barrel, and barrel.class, meaning it's going to look for objects of the class barrel. If it doesn't find one, barrel will be null. Null just means empty, N-U-L-L. If it isn't null, that means it found one. So I'm going to ask that question. I'm going to say, if barrel does not equal null, then I want you to do something. Now, at this point, this is where you should be making an actor for an explosion. And you should make your actor change pictures after so many calls to act, like frames, and have it animate. You could, and you should be adding sound. Greenfoot.sound. All of those things. But for now, I'm just going to remove it. And if we have time, I'll look at adding a sound. So I need to remove the barrel. So I'm going to say world. I could actually use the same variable here. But you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this called world outside of the if statement. So now I have it inside both branches. Remember, anywhere you define a variable, it only exists within those curly braces. So if I want to access that W out here, I need to do that. So I'll say W dot remove object. Now I'm not removing the cannonball. Well, actually I will be removing the cannonball. I'll be removing both the cannonball and I'll be removing the barrel itself. But we should remove the barrel first, because if we remove the cannonball, then we're gonna be losing information. We're gonna be no longer running this algorithm because it's gone. So I want to remove the barrel first, then I'll remove the sound, the cannonball itself. Okay, so now I've got that, and we could also be calling a score method, so that would be super cool as well. All right, let's add a sailboat. Let's add some barrels. And currently our barrels do not do anything bad to our sailboats, but they will. And I'm going to go ahead and save the world. Save the world. All right. Okay, good. I'm going to run it. Oh, no. Actor not in world. The attempt was made to use this actor's location while it was not in the world. Okay, so that is a problem. Oh, my goodness. The problem is, you see, we removed it. I was just talking about this. If you try and remove the object here, you need to make sure you don't call any more code on that object, because otherwise it's trying to call code on something that's not in the world. So I have this if at edge, I remove it. I can't do that after it's already done all this code. So I'm going to say else if. So I don't run that code anymore. I could also include just a simple word return here that's going to cause my act method to stop, and so act is called by the world itself. World goes around and calls act on all the actors. I can say return, and that will remove it. If you don't do that, you get this exception here, illegal state exception. That is when you try and make something do some code that no longer exists. All right, we will try that again. All right. Remember, we fire downwards here. That just kind of adds like an extra little nuance to the game. That would have killed me normally. Oh, ah! All right. Okay, so that was pretty fun. Let's add some explosions. So, Greenfoot. What do we got for sounds? Well, we could download some sounds. We can record a wave. We're going to do explosion wave sound effect. There's bound to be one that's around here somewhere. Free explosion sound effects. Some of these things get kind of hairy to find, but there are other voice recorders that will record in waves. Let's see here, explosion. Yeah, I got it. That was okay. No. That's the one we want. Ah, there we go. I'll save it in that same folder. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to record my voice, but I can just search for WAV files, and WAV files are kind of your default. So where was I again? Oh yes, computer science. Bow battle sounds. All right, I'm gonna just call it explosion. So this will be explosion.wav, which definitely will work. So we'll try that. Because a WAV file is like your most basic type of sound file. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so that's pretty exciting. Let's make it to where our boat explodes, And let's add a score. Actually, I'm going to leave it to you make the boat explode if the boat runs into a barrel. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to make a score that we can show. So I'm going to go to the world class, and we're going to make a variable for our world. So private int score. And during our constructor, after we call prepare or before, doesn't matter. It has to be after super. Super has to be your first line of code. We'll start it at 0. And I'm going to make a method called public void increase score, which just takes score and increases it by 1. And the score method is going to, this score is going to write to the screen. And so I want to be able to write to the screen what is there. So the world method has a show text. So that shows some text centered at the given position of the world. The text will be displayed in front of any actors. Any previous text shown at the same location will first be removed. So it's exactly what we want. So every time I score, I want to change that score. So I'm just going to call the show text method. And my world is 600 by 600. So I want to be somewhere over here around 500 on the X. So I'll say 500, and I'm going to be about maybe 50 on the Y. We'll have to play with that. And I'm just going to say score. And I want it to be a string, so I'm going to add a plus quote quote. It may not require it, but I don't know if it'll handle int. So I'm going to change it to a string by adding plus quote, plus quote. When you add a number and quotes, it'll automatically convert it to string in Java. So that's cool. All right. Now in the constructor, though, I'm going to say show text 550. And I'm just going to show that the score is 0 there. But then it should rewrite it over as we score. So now how are we going to call that method? Well, this is a little bit interesting. So when we destroy the cannonball, we play our sound, all that stuff, right? What I'm going to do is call the score method, but it's not in the world, it's in the my world class. So I actually need to get an instance of the world that is a lower down version. So I'm going to say my world equals get, and the method is not called get world, it's called get world of type. So I'll say where was I here? No, here. Get world of type, and here I'm going to put in the type, which is my world.class. So it will actually get the subclass that I made because that's where I wrote that method. And then I can say my world increase score, or was that what we called it, or we called it something else? Yeah, increase score. So my world increase score, it should increase the score and redisplay it. And I think that's good. There's one little change. I think we can make the explosions sound quicker if we don't load them every single time. So what I'm going to do is going to move this out to the constructor. And I'm going to remove this. But now when I do that, I got to move this declaration here. So I'm going to say private Greenfoot. So the loading time, it's got a little bit of a delay. And so by loading it just once in the constructor at the beginning of the game, when you launch your cannonball, then it has a little bit of time to catch up. So hopefully that'll be, that might smooth out a little bit. There's a few other things we could do. We could load the explosion in the sailboat class, which would probably be even better, or the world class and call it from there. But I just want to see if that speeds up, because mine had a little delay. Of course, it could be because I'm recording. Everything's a little slow when I'm recording. All right. Oh. I'm not doing this right. It's text, then X, then Y. Oops. But it shows that that error I was talking about definitely does exist. It cannot convert it to a number. So take that, and we'll put it there. All right, see if it likes that a little better. All right, reset, and I run. and my score is increasing. All right, well, that's going to be it for me. I'm going to ask that you please make the boat explode when it hits a barrel. And if possible, can you add another boat that flies by ever so often that you can also hit? Trying to add artificial intelligence to that other boat to make it like weave or go towards you is a little bit challenging, but there is a method that you can look into that causes something to aim towards another object. So, just have fun with it. That's the best way to learn computer science, is to have fun and try things out. You've got the documentation. It's right there, Greenfoot class documentation, or double click on Actor World and just see what you can do and try it. All right, until next time, take care.